If you guys have heard anything about Forspoken, I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's probably been a lot of negative comments and hate. More specifically, spreading around after people got their hands on the demo, calling it trash and a few other choice phrases.
What? What?
So I decided to check it out for myself, be my own judge and see what all the fuss is about.
What is this?
Now it definitely has its fair share of concerns, but it has some positives too, so let's dive in and see where we land. Let's get the bad out of the way first and end on a high note. I think one big reason why this is having such a rough response to begin with is that they toss you into the game at level 17, with a pretty simple rundown of basic combat and maneuvering. Now I don't know what the max level is, but level 17 feels like a pretty decently high level in regard to how many skills you already have unlocked. I see how this could put people off with combat immediately, because it does take a bit of tinkering, reading, and time with the controls and spells to really give you the true feeling of what this combat is and how it functions. They start you with 12 spells in total. That's 6 for each magic type you control. That's a lot to remember while fighting right out of the gate. This is a prime example of why progression is so important when it comes to skills in RPGs. Unlocking one skill at a time forces you to learn it, remember it, and give you the opportunity to think about how to utilize it with other skills. So at first the combat felt very clunky and unfamiliar, but after a little time and patience, I started to get used to rotating spells and utilizing their effects together. And then, the flow came. And in my opinion, I think this combat system is super cool, and more importantly, engaging. You can get really creative with all the usable skills and spells you unlock, and I was starting to do some pretty fun combinations. Now the only issue I do have with combat is the aiming, and aiming in general. Now I played on the PS5, so this wouldn't be an issue on the PC, keep in mind. However, one of your magic types is essentially all ranged, so you're going to be aiming a lot. You can lock on, but you can also have a lot of enemies on you at once, so single target lock-on feels pretty worthless in certain scenarios.
Look at all those chickens!
Plus, the lock-on seems to fall off enemies pretty easily, making it pretty annoying having to retarget the same enemy. I'm not sure if this is a bug or a sensitive distance rule that automatically untargets once you reach a certain distance, but this could easily be resolved by adding some more in-depth sensitivity settings for aiming. Now the other issue with aiming is that it also can be necessary for certain traversal movements. In particular, the dash grapple ability is used to attach to certain points around the world to boost you up or forward, but you have to aim with the left stick to do this one in certain situations. And I've noticed one thing in particular that is making it useless in upward movement. Your aim is limited and doesn't go all the way up. This caused a massive headache when I was just simply trying to make my way up. Plus, more importantly, you face flying enemies quite often, and you can't target them when they go above your head. And just like those enemies, so did this problem right over the devs. Now I have two other things about the game that I'm just not sure how they will pan out. One is the main character. Personally, I find no connection with her and find the majority of her dialogue between her and her magic band consists of her complaining and just simply not having a good time. And needless to say, it got old pretty quick.
Ugh, it's so damp here.
The watery bounties of this fair realm know no limits, my lady.
Yeah, well, I fucking hate it.
And this could just be due to the fact that I didn't get to experience her whole backstory of why she's even here in the first place. They only give you a brief summary of the backstory in the demo, and you can pick up little details in the dialogue. For example, her mom was the owner of the band before. So this could change based on evolving with the character from the start. At least I hope that's the case. The second thing is the world. While it's large and expansive, with mostly hills, mountains, and a few scattered trees, it is super stunning at first, but it quickly felt empty and repetitive. I wish there were more environmental variety, and can only hope that there will be more in the full game. But in the demo, the dull gray mountains were getting boring after a while. If these two things don't change, let's be honest, it might be over for Forspoken.
No! Oh, please, God, no! Please, God, no, this can't be happening! This can't be happening!
Now before we hit on the good things, there's something kind of more neutral that I just found interesting that I want to get your guys' opinion on. The difficulty settings have some interesting options in there, where it's taking easy mode to the next level.
I am not playing, I am practicing.
I'm not talking about generic easy, normal, and hard modes. They have options where you can adjust things from stamina recovery rate to extremes like how long enemies stay knocked down, auto dodging, automatic spell switching, and even how much damage you receive. I usually play on hard modes if the option is available on games, so maybe that's why it sounds a little goofy to me, but I just thought it was interesting to see how many simplifying options there are. It almost reminds me of something mobile games do. But I'll let you guys discuss this one. Now let's hit on the good things. So we talked about combat already a little bit, but circling back to that for a moment, I really did enjoy the combat quite a lot, finding some fun combinations of spells to use, and the spell tree seems pretty deep as well. From what I can tell, there are 21 active skills, 2 of which you cannot obtain during the demo. The rest I did and utilized most of them during any given battle. The neat thing about the skill tree is you can upgrade main offensive attacks to 3 different tiers, allowing them to get more powerful, but then in addition to that, you have another way of leveling your skills by completing different objectives that you could apply at any time. The kicker is you could only select 3 skills to work on at any time. This could be things like tossing your fire spear long distances or getting killing blows with a specific skill. I think this is a fun interactive way to level up your abilities rather than the typical spend your points system. Now let's talk about movement. Now I have my issues with the aiming and the dash ability, but putting that aside, the magical parkour is freaking sweet, and I could run all day in this mode. Easily fly over obstacles, and once you get the hang of it, if you're using the dash grapple without aiming, it does get real smooth. So I suppose if you got really good without holding down to aim at an attach point, my original problem becomes null and void. There's also a basic crafting system and gear upgrades. You have 3 pieces of gear you can manage: your armor/cloak, necklace, and nails. Bet you've been waiting for a game to make that a thing, right?
Is he joking?
All jokes aside, I'm just surprised they chose nails over utilizing the magical band as a gear piece instead. You would think that would be more important to highlight and have way more potential for unique looking bands to collect. Anyway, you can get pretty customized for the 3 pieces. Within them, you can level up your defense, health, and red and purple magic power. In addition to that, you can set 3 unique traits on each piece. This is pretty sweet because I can see a lot of class building potential for the future of the game. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. Now the crafting is pretty basic. You can make your healing item, and you can upgrade your resource storage capacity as well as your healing item capacity. The resources for both crafting and upgrading your gear can be found as either natural resources that you gather like plants, and items that you find within chests scattered around the map. And I'm not sure if this is just a demo thing or a forever thing, but all chests seem to be pinned on the map already. So finding the resources to upgrade your items really won't be a challenge, more of a time grind. At the end of it all, this is still a game I would like to give a shot, just based on the hope for a good story. I know the combat's good, now I just want something to fight for and feel that progression. There are a couple games coming out in February that I'm unfortunately more interested in playing at the moment. I'm not sure if you could guess which ones. So for me, Forspoken is going to be one of those games I'll play when I see it on sale. The $70 price tag just doesn't seem worth it right now. Let me know if you guys plan on getting Forspoken, or if you played the demo and have different feelings than I did. As always, thank you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.